And there we are, Dr. Corsi. Welcome back for another episode. It's always harrowing, but good to have you here today, Doctor. How are you?
Good. We fought all the technical demons and we are actually broadcasting. That's great.
Indeed,
Good to be with you,
indeed.
Jason. Good to be with you.
Good to be with you, Dr. Corsi. Now, in the description, I was remarking that so many people, including myself, just last week were feeling like Joe Biden was destined for the political scrap heap. And now suddenly, after a surprising pull ahead in Super Tuesday, he's the presumptive 46th president of the United States.
It's amazing, isn't it, Jason? I mean, here we go. It's a sudden revival. Look, behind the scenes, I think what you can see is that this is a lot of the manipulation of the Democratic establishment. That you have a coming together of the forces: Hillary Clinton, Donna Brazile, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, Terry McAuliffe. These are the forces that have been in charge of the Democratic Party for a long time. And we're not about to see Sanders take over the party. First of all, Sanders is not even a Democrat. He's an independent. He caucuses with the Democrats. And this is the second time that the Democratic mafia, the establishment mafia, have gotten together to submarine, to sell out, to cheat Sanders out of the Democratic nomination. And they did so by getting Buttigieg and Klobuchar, two candidates, just the day before the Super Tuesday, to drop out when they had good chances of gaining delegates the next day, and to say that they were throwing their support to Biden. Now, that kind of a move is, I think, too well orchestrated. It's obvious. And indicates, again, the Democratic Party is still in control of the Clintons. Excuse me.
And it also indicates, Doctor, that they're about to basically screw Bernie Sanders and his supporters yet again.
Yet again.
And
they did.
Yes, and if George Bush were here, Dr. Corsi, he would say, fool me once, you're not going to fool me again.
Well, I mean, I just can't. It's really pretty. First of all, we're watching I think the suicide of the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party, for all intents and purposes, has been taken over since 2018 by the extremely hard left, which is socialist.
Yeah.
AOC was the pushing factor. Nancy Pelosi did not originally want to do the impeachment trial in the Senate unless it was bipartisan, and it wasn't. I mean, so much has happened, Jason. Do you remember the impeachment hearing in the Senate?
Yeah.
It seems like it was like years ago. It was so distant in terms of all the politics. Well, AOC is the one who pushed the extreme left, and the activists in the party are the ones who typically support Sanders. The Democrats, they are openly socialist. And when you deal with the older factions in the Democratic Party, which are the remainders of those who supported Jack Kennedy and Hubert Humphrey, these are the moderate Democrats that they would call moderate, although increasingly the Democratic Party has gone left, farther and farther left all the time. At any rate, the Hillary Clintons and even the Obamas, which now look a little bit more centrist compared to AOC and Sanders. Obama was clearly, he had a socialist communist mentor and Frank Marshall Davis. I pointed all this out in the Obama Nation, but still he tried to cover it up. He tried to argue that he was a centrist and that he was for all Americans, etc. Sanders is just openly communist. He's been communist his whole career. And so this fracture in the Democratic Party, the old guard are supporting Biden to block Sanders. And now even today, another remarkable event, Elizabeth Warren dropped out.
That is remarkable.
Now, again, I think there was a Michael Moore threat that he was going to actually oppose her with a lot of money and a lot of effort in
Michael Bloomberg, you mean?
No, Michael Moore.
The fat guy?
Yes. I think he was involved in this. I think it was the
Wow.
Democratic establishment really ganging up and saying to Sanders, to Elizabeth Warren, although I would think that Elizabeth Warren would have seen the ability to keep going and maybe go for vice president. Maybe even the Hillary Clinton faction would see that would split votes and delegates off from Sanders. But it's come down to all this behind the scenes maneuvering so that we're down now to Sanders versus Biden. And the real question is whether the Democrats are going to have a contested convention or not. The whole dynamics there are if either Biden or Sanders does not get 1,991 delegates in the primaries and the caucuses, that's what they need to have a majority on the first ballot for the presidential nomination in the July convention, the Democratic National Nominating Convention in Milwaukee. If they don't have that number, then the superdelegates get to vote in the second round. There's something like 771 or 2 superdelegates, and they will go with the establishment. But in the second ballot, it doesn't have to be Sanders or Biden. It could be Hillary. It could be Bloomberg. It could be anybody the convention decides to nominate, because in a contested convention, now the convention is going to choose the delegates, the nominee, not the delegates.
So doesn't it seem, Dr. Corsi, like they would just always want to get it into the position where it's going to be contested so they could kind of stick in whoever they want? We're hearing that Michelle Obama may run with Joe Biden.
I don't think so. Michelle Obama, I think after Blagojevich, was released from prison by Trump, and I think a clever move, that Blagojevich probably knows where all of the Obama skeletons are buried. I mean, Obama was clearly, at both when he was in Chicago and Blagojevich was mayor of Chicago and then governor of Illinois, very close to Rezko, very close to all the mafia. Rezko was the Syrian, very shady kind of business guy. He's in prison now. Obama made sure that Rezko and Blagojevich went to prison right away as soon as he got elected, 2008. Blagojevich was, the day Obama won the election in 2008, he essentially sent someone to see Blagojevich and start bartering for who was going to get his Senate seat. And Blagojevich, of course, traded around in politics for that, never took any money. But that's what the Obama people, the Obama Justice Department, indicted Blagojevich for. And Blagojevich knows all the details of when Obama was a low-life, really unsuccessful politician just in the Illinois legislature, state legislature, the Senate, smoking cigarettes, living on credit cards, wife going to divorce him. I mean, apartment in Chicago he was having trouble paying for, and associating with all these shady figures, Rezko and his whole group in Chicago politics, pay to play, mafia money under the table, payoffs, and Obama was in the middle of that. So, and Michelle got favors, political favors and jobs out of that whole political mix in Chicago. And I don't think with Blagojevich out and talking that the Obamas want to be anywhere near in the spotlight where they're going to get presidential level scrutiny again. I think that was a clever move by Trump to kind of checkmate Michelle coming into the race.
Blagojevich has been doing a number of really interesting interviews, Dr. Corsi. I saw the other day, he said he's done nothing wrong, that this was what he referred to as political horse trading, and that if this standard of legal scrutiny were applied to basically any politician, they would all be going to jail. I also want to thank John Doe for utilizing Super Chat on Crowdsource the Truth too. And of course, Dr. Corsi, we need to let our viewers know that the simulcast is playing right now on the Jerome Corsi YouTube channel. People can also access Super Chat for the benefit of Dr. Corsi by going over to YouTube and making sure you're subscribed to the Jerome Corsi YouTube channel. Every week prior to Dr. Corsi's Prescription for America, the sponsor-exclusive show on patreon.com/Jerome Corsi and patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth. We're doing these simulcasts that are available on the Jerome Corsi YouTube channel and the Jason Goodman YouTube channel. Gives everybody an opportunity to get a feel for what we're going to be discussing and make their way over to the sponsor-exclusive content, which will be starting in just about 20 minutes.
Sounds good. And also, CorsiNation.com, we've got off of the internet right now. We're doing a complete redo of the website. I think it's going to be a much better website when it comes back, and we're going to try to have it be much more of a powerhouse in terms of the internet. I also want to comment, I was very interested to see Paul Singer, a conservative billionaire, very involved in Argentinian debt, and that's a long story, but he initially opposed President Trump in 2016, then came around and actually gave $1 million to the inauguration. He's just made a major investment in Twitter and is going after 4 board seats. I think this is something that is a watershed development, because if conservative with money, like Soros on the left with money, begin to start buying into the social media to make sure that the censorship is resisted and changed as policy. We also have the Obama administration beginning the antitrust action against Google and Facebook, and thinking about whether
Trump administration.
I'm sorry, Trump administration, thinking about whether they're just too large. So, you've got a set of factors here which I think are moving to get the social media to be more First Amendment space, which they should be, I believe, because they're such a powerful communications tool. I mean, the internet is just about putting newspapers out of business. It's fundamentally changed the nature of even cable news, which you can watch live streaming now in many services. And I think we're going to a fundamental transformation of how we're processing information and news with the internet that today is getting to be, I think, more mature, which means that conservatives and Christians can't be blocked. But again, that's what this whole election is about. The hard left, the Bernie Sanders, the Elizabeth Warren, are so ideologically driven that they really are not interested in the First Amendment. They're not interested in the Second Amendment. As long as they get to control the surveillance, they don't want a Fourth Amendment. They want to control the entire apparatus where we get social media scores, and if we are not properly oriented politically, we get sent to thought reform. I mean, deplorables of Hillary Clinton. So the hard left, what this 2020 is all about, is whether or not America is going to go socialist. And the Democratic Party, I think, is RIP. This is now becoming a Democratic Socialist Party. The attempt to prop up Biden only puts Ukraine right back on the agenda.
Right.
The Biden corruption right back on the agenda. The establishment Democrats, to preserve what's left of the old Democratic Party, have called it an artillery strike on their own position. They presented a flawed candidate, Biden, who appears not only to have mental incapacities, but also has serious problems with corruption that now are going to be reinvestigated. And Senator Ron Johnson said he's going to be issuing his interim report. Now it's relevant. We're going to have to learn all again about Ukraine and all the complexities of Ukraine and their corrupt politics.
Slavchesky and all those difficult names. Luckily, you've got them memorized already, Doctor. Now, let me just share a couple comments with you because we only have a few minutes left. Melissa Ward is watching us on Periscope, and she warns us that Singer, in her opinion, is not a good guy. Tucker Carlson apparently did a segment on him. And Mary Lynn reminds us that actually Blagojevich wasn't the mayor. He was an Illinois state rep. And he's the son-in-law of a powerful Chicago alderman named Richard Mell. I don't even know what an alderman is.
She's correct. It's like a city councilman. She's right. He wasn't the mayor, but he was very influential in Chicago politics, and he became governor of Illinois. He was governor of Illinois in 2008 when Obama won the presidential election. That's how he got involved in the criminal activity for which he went to prison, allegedly is selling the seat of Barack Obama to the highest bidder.
And the other thing, Doctor,
that's politics is normal. It's really not. Yes, go ahead.
We'll have to scrutinize that. But the other thing we got to let everybody know about is that Coup d'etat is finally available. People can purchase it on Amazon.com.
That's right. And again, I've not been, the banning on TV. They were happy to have me on TV when they thought I was going to prison with Mueller. But again, I'm being blackballed, and so there's no Fox, there's no coverage of the book.
Terrible.
When Corsi Nation gets up and running, we're going to do some. We're going to have an ability to gain mailing lists. We're going to be. I've just decided that I need to be able to utilize the internet to get the message across, because the old media, television, Fox News, newspapers, they're all shutting out conservatives and Christians.
Yeah.
And Fox News increasingly is moved. Now, I want to comment on Paul Singer. Paul Singer is not perfect in terms of a true conservative Christian view, but he comes around. I mean, he works with the Washington Examiner. He's certainly going to be a lot better than Jack Dorsey, and he is a conservative on many, many issues. And this is the beginning of some of the people on the right with money. What he did, he was the first one to fund Fusion GPS in 2016 to do the anti-Trump research. He funded it because he supported Rubio, and he wanted to get Trump out of the election. When Cruz dropped out in 2016, and that locked in Donald Trump for the nomination, Singer quit funding Fusion GPS. They had not yet hired Christopher Steele. They hired Christopher Steele, MI6 former Russian agent in Great Britain, and they sold the project to Hillary Clinton. So Paul Singer did use Fusion GPS. He stopped it when Trump was going to get the nomination. He put $1 million into Trump's inauguration, and I think he has conservative credentials which are not pure or perfect or going to be acceptable to everyone, but I'd much rather have Paul Singer running Twitter. At least I believe it's going to be a lot better than it will be under Jack Dorsey.
Or Al-Walid bin Talal, for that matter. Well, Dr. Corsi, we're just about out of time here for our preview show, but we're going to be starting the in-depth discussion on patreon.com/Jerome Corsi, patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth. And of course, you and I are both on Subscribestar as well. So if people prefer that platform, they can go to subscribestar.com/Jerome_Corsi or subscribestar.com/crowdsourcethetruth. We're going to be starting there in just about 10 minutes, Doctor. So I'll see you there, and hopefully everyone will join us.
Great. Thanks, Jason.
See you there. Thanks for watching, everybody.